next act is a fucking stalwart of the Manchester comedy scene who won fucking great gigs, and he's doing mine, so I'm now the boss, and I'm really enjoying it. It's Tony Basnett!
Alright, fuck it, let's make Johnny regret ever wanting to be my boss. I do this for a job because I've been sacked from any other job I've ever had. Let's go through the list. I've been sacked from most call centres in Manchester now. I don't think it was my fault. We'll start. I was selling gas and electric, rang a guy up. I was like, hello, I'm calling about your gas and electric. He said, I'm not interested. I said, cool, I'll turn it off. Sacked. One job, I was selling double glazing windows, out again, cold calling, rang a guy up, I was like, hello, I'm just calling about, and he went, you need to get yourself a proper fucking job. I was like, sir, I'm calling you at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. On your landline. Which of us really needs a proper fucking job here? Sacked.
I'm assuming you were someone who was quite socially funny, at least within your own kind of circle, given that, like, your mate was telling you to do stand-up. So have you always been a good storyteller, like Anecdotes,
no.
even before stand-up? No, okay.
Not really. I honestly think he was telling me that too, because I think it was one of those where it's like, oh, I'd say something and think I was being funny, and I think he told me to go on stage to stop me doing that. You should go on stage, by which he means, we don't agree. Go on stage and learn.
Oh, he must be kicking himself now.
I mean, every time I need to stay on his couch, he is annoyed, yeah. Oh, he's back.
I do feel because of that I'm not allowed to mess about with anyone from a call centre who rings me, though. I feel like I've done my time. If anyone wants to, try this. This is loads of fun. Did this the other week. Someone rang me and they were like, hello, sir. Have you been missold PPI? And I said, yes. Try it. They're not expecting it at all. Totally through and didn't know what to do. He panicked and I went, oh, but before we go into your survey, I'm currently running a survey of people who are from in this area. I just wondered if I could take 2 minutes of your time to answer a couple of my questions. First of all, who supplies your gas and electric? Bless him, he panicked, he didn't know what to do. He went, hello! Have you been missold PPI? And I, yeah, but once you looked at your gas and electric, did you know I've also got a special dealing on double glazing windows today? Come back in front of the house with me, I'll give you the back of the house absolutely free. How does that sound? You went, oh, it's a type of insurance. The banks they used to sell on loans. I was like, I'm well aware of that, but if it's your bills you're looking at, did you know you could get a solar panel installed on your roof with a grant from the government? You don't even have to pay. Not only will it reduce your bills, it'll save the planet as well. And he went, millions of people are on thousands of pounds. And I was like, once you've looked at that, my friend, I want to have a look at your home insurance, life insurance, car insurance, pet insurance, your mobile phone. I've been sacked from all of these jobs. Your life, and he went, sir! And I went, my friend, I know, but I need to find out. Have you been sick on an all-inclusive holiday in the last 6 years? He put me on hold. It was a Tuesday afternoon, I didn't have a lot to do. I thought, I waited, it wasn't him, it was his manager who came back to the phone. His manager, God bless him, didn't know what was going on. He picked up the phone and he was like, hello, sir. You've been speaking with my colleague, Ben. I don't know what's happened. He seems very distressed. Properly couldn't help myself. I just went, seems like he's had an accident at work. So good luck being my boss.
I'm fine, by the way. been told recently that I don't look fine. My flatmate recently described me as heroin-y.
Oh.
I didn't know that was an adjective. Is this. Cool, good. I like to start with names. I think names are important. My name's Red. I'm non-binary, so I have to have a fucking stupid name. I've got like 2 friends called Peregrine.
Young white person who's come from some relative amount of money.
Yeah.
And so when I came out as non-binary, I think it took me a long time to realise, well, to almost learn how to live as someone who occasionally, not often, but occasionally suffers discrimination.
Yeah.
Because I'd gone through my life incredibly lucky with a lot of privilege.
Yeah.
And I think it's taken me a long time to learn how to talk about those things. And I know like a lot of people are trying to elevate their understanding of certain social situations at the moment with things like Black Lives Matter, which is great.
Yeah.
But I think what I'm noticing is like previously, before like movements like this, when conversations of race would come up with someone of a certain race in a room, they might choose to remove themselves from that conversation because they feel that voicing their opinions on it will be seen negatively by the predominantly white room that they are currently in.
Right, yeah.
And I certainly feel that sometimes when conversations about trans issues come up, I either want to, like, because I feel more knowledgeable on the subject in a room full of cisgender people, I would like to go, oh, actually, guys, hang on, I think you're wrong there because I know about this shit and this is actually true. But I find more often that when you do say that, it's just never received well, even if you put it across politely.
Yeah.
People do like to assume that they already know what.
Well, most people are coming around to the idea that gender is sort of like a spectrum. The way I like to explain it is gender is a lot like the Chuckle Brothers. There used to be 2 of them. Oh, you've turned on me now. Don't know whether to fight or fuck me right now. Either way, you're going to have to use your fist. So upsets people like gender stuff can upset people. Like what someone said to me. Now this is a weird. I genuinely didn't know this going into like identifying as this. People ask you, this is true, if you keep your dick in a jar. What? Yeah, I know, right? I didn't know. I was just like on a comment section one day because I'm a masochist. I was like, "Oh, do you keep your dick in a jar?" And I was like, "That's a weird one." No. I thought immediately that is so offensive and so hurtful. You know, because if they just took the time to get to know me, they would know that I keep my dick in their mum.
So, my name is Ash Preston, 3-time Northwest Regional semi-finalist of the Charles Manson lookalike competition. And he died last year, which means this year's competition, sir, got it in the fucking bag of yeah? I quite like Manson, not because he was a cult leader, that'd be weird, but if he was a comedian, he'd have probably been a bit more respected. Because most acts you see will end on a song, sometimes or a story or a punchline. Manson, now if he'd have been a comedian, what he would have done was he would have ended his set by putting the Beatles on, making everyone get naked, dance, take acid and have an orgy. Right? Now, confession, I have never myself ended a gig like that before, but it's a Christmas party, you seem like a nice room. Tonight might be the night. In fact, what's your name, sir?
Jonathan.
Hello, Jonathan. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll know if this gig has gone well, Jonathan, if by the end of this set, your pupils are dilated. You're dancing on the chair with your cock out singing Yellow Submarine.
Things aren't going great in my life. Basically, I'm 34 and I'm living with my mum still. Can I have a cheer from anyone who's 34 and live with the mum? So anyway, I think it's not easy living with my mum, right? Because I want to do things around the house, so I feel like I'm a practical adult. But she doesn't trust me not to mess up. Because the other day I tried to toast some tea cakes, and apparently they're a little bit overcooked, according to the fireman. And my mum's really pernickety as well, because the other day I was ironing my work trousers, and she was like, no, Paul, you're doing it wrong, I never do it like that. You got to take them off first. I love ironing, I find it so therapeutic. And this one time when I was using the iron, my mum let me plug it in. So my mum's friends annoy me because I always tell my mum how well their children are doing. They're like, oh, Jack's a lawyer, Kate's an oncologist. And my mum's like, oh, Paul's clever, he got a question right on the chase.
Part of the charm of your act is like, it really does feel like a character. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but it feels like the character of Paul Campbell performing stand-up rather than you writing jokes and performing them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's weird though, because that was never intentional.
Yeah.
It's like, but I know it is like, because that everyone says it's like a character, so it kind of,
yeah,
by definition it is, but it's not like.
Yeah, it's a character which is based heavily in reality.
Yeah, like, because it's, but then what's weird, right, is that I remember, like, there's a lot of times in my actual life though where people have said and done something and people say, oh, are you for real, right? Yeah. So I feel like maybe my natural personality is kind of quite weird. That when I play it on stage, people are like, oh shit, he's got to be making it, like that's an act.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, that's something I'm trying to work with, because it's like I've probably got to embrace it being a character, but at this time I don't want to overdo it. And I suppose that's just the natural way of getting better is to acknowledge that people think it's a character.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, there's been a lot of female remakes recently. It's much easier than writing us our own films. So, there's Ocean's 8, there's Ghostbusters, and so, I just thought, what would happen in some other films if they were remade with women? So, it's just a game I like to play. I'll give you guys an example to start us off. James Bond. If that was a female remake, it would be about Jane Bond, and she's a sexy lady spy. She goes all over the world on exotic missions, sleeping with glamorous men, and she gets fired because that is a bad use of government resources. Frankly, she's making them all look bad. Any other films anyone wants to see?
Interstellar.
I've not seen Interstellar. I should just note that when I went to film school, I was quite depressed, and I didn't watch most of the films because most good films are quite sad. So if you do shout out a film and I've not seen it, that's your fault, not mine. Okay, I was anxious. But I've tried my best. Any other films? No pressure.
Joker.
It's about a woman who has mental health problems, and she gets help. 2 minutes long. Nominated for no awards. Any other films?
Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day is about a woman who wakes up and every day's the bloody same, and that's just life as a woman, And the monotony of the patriarchy. It's about a woman who is in prison for a crime she did not commit, and she's got a sexy poster of... Is Liam Neeson cool again? No. Someone hot. So on the wall, and it turns out she's been digging a tunnel out of there the whole time, and she gets through there, and it's raining, there's a storm, she goes into the pipes, she's under the thing, and then there's like 200 foot of ship that she has to crawl through to get to freedom, and she looks at it and she goes, no way, I'm going back to my cell. Anything else anyone wants to say?
Blade Runner?
I haven't done Blade Runner. Blade Runner is about a woman who is really good looking but grumpy. Now, is it her job to administer those tests, or is that his job in the film? Yeah. Okay, it's her job to do that, and then they pull her aside and they go, you know what? You're more of a people person. You just got a bit of a resting bitch face. So we're gonna let you go. Mrs. Doubtfire is a film about a woman who gets divorced and gets custody of the children.
Mention it too much about being a woman.
Otherwise, people will go, "Oh, it's one of those women comedians talking about being a woman." We're not interested in this.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you either embraced it fully and were like, I'm one of those feminist comedians who talks about women's stuff and, you know, a certain demographic will be into this and no one else will.
Yeah.
Or you kind of go, I'm not going to address it at all and I'm just going to do jokes and then, you know, maybe feel a bit guilty for kind of never discussing stuff that actually happens to men people.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do find it really interesting, and yeah, it's definitely a stigma with female comedians, and I've seen a few people, like a few women who've kind of sort of internalized that and sort of made like the first couple of years doing comedy really like make themselves the anti that and sort of really sort of make reference to that, and then just like sort of like destroy feminism kind of thing, and then luckily like most of them kind of got past that.
I think it's a natural reaction.
Yeah,
in a way, like you want to be embraced by this community who are not into that or whatever, and you also you know, in that kind of token otherness thing, you kind of get aware that you've been given this lucky place that, and so you kind of end up pitting yourself against other women. The men have let you speak, kind of thing. And it's like, you know, there's only room for a certain amount of us, so, you know, we better be better than the other ones. And I'm definitely still guilty of that. I think I get quite, like, wound up with the idea that there's not enough space for all of us, which isn't true. And it's not our fault.
I've had to spend every waking moment at hen nights. That is the fate of the white cis woman. After a certain age, she must spend every weekend in a regional town. Not the regional town we're all from, that would be far too straightforward. It's going to be a regional town at the other end of the country, where the drinks are apparently cheaper, but the trains cost more. A lot of rules you have to follow. Yeah, that's the first rule. It's going to be a regional town. Second rule, you've all got to organise it together on a WhatsApp group. Minimum 58 people involved. Only 12 of whom are actually going to turn up. And you don't know these people. You never met them. You're never going to. So as far as you're concerned, it's just a bunch of binary code giving you its opinions. You've got to get there. You've got to put on a sash with your it's the binary code. Didn't like it. Got to put a sash on with your name on it. There's a big anthropomorphic bird giving you you know, the big hen. The big hen's there. The big hen. Massive. The big chicken. The big hen. Yeah, the main hen. The main hen. Big hen. Maid of honour. The maid of honour. She's there. You're wearing a sash. She's a big bird. It's like you're back in Brownies, but with more alcohol. Or less alcohol, I don't know what the Manchester brownie packs are like. I don't know what any brownie pack's like. I didn't go to Brownies. I don't really see the point of being bullied by the same girls in a different uniform. Toxic environment.
I don't think I'm scared of nightclubs. What it is I get uncomfortable when it's when I hear the song "I've Had the Time of My Life" from the film Dirty Dancing. I'm taking a punt, we all know the song. And here's the thing, it's like nightclubs. Bad things can happen in a nightclub, good things can happen, you have a good time, but then you can also get too drunk and get thrown out or get in a fight and stuff, and that's bad. But in my opinion, I don't feel that there is a bigger case of nightclub-related injuries than when it's 2:45 and that fucking song comes on. Because you hear it, don't you? Boom, and you immediately just start scouring the dance floor going, where is he? Where is he? And what I'm referring to is a man in his late 40s, definitely a dad, stood in the middle of the dance floor like this. And you try and follow the eye line to where his partner is, and she's like 40 feet away at the bar, but she's got him like locked in like a stealthy missile. She's, you know, because the lift is coming and she's nailing this. She's doing that with her friend, like it's the running of the bulls, and your mates are just like, this is going to be a fucking car crash. And she runs at him, and right before the moment of impact, and I believe impact is the correct term in this situation, you can see him completely sober up, his eyes glaze over, the drink completely dissipates from his brain, and you can see he is processing the sentence, I have greatly misjudged this situation. Because it goes two ways, doesn't it? Either the lift goes up, slightly down, and they put him down because they couldn't do it, or she runs at him with such velocity that they go up, Where are we going now? Oh, where are we going? And then we've got this wonderful visual image of a lady about 46 years old rolling around, her brooch has fallen off, on her back like a turtle covered in red stripe, screaming, "Pick me up, Keith, you bastard!"
I was quite into theatre as a kid. I quite enjoyed just performing around the house, like just doing weird stuff. Like I was like creating little weird shows in my head where I did these characters and stuff like that. So I think it was always a performance thing.
Yeah.
And you know, I quite enjoyed the breaking of the audience, you know, speaking to the audience as people and talking to them. I prefer that much more than acting in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause I like getting to, I just like the interaction, the kind of leveling where people's emotions in what they're discussing, and you know, that's kind of where I kind of want to go with stuff.
I've started having arguments with people since not really having anything else to do. You can start your own, it's really fun. My new favourite one is telling people that football's scripted. I hate it. I properly hate it. Like, examining those, like, 'cause I'm a wrestling fan and people are like, "You're aware it's fake?" And it's like, yeah. Properly well aware, that's why I call it boxing the pantomime. It's fucking lovely, right? Right, I've started having fun with people though with the football thing. Like, just all you've got to do is you'll be like, "Oh, it's scripted." Like, "Oh, how can it be? It's a beautiful game. You see it? End of the season. He scored in the last minute. You couldn't rate it." That kind of twist comes from Shakespeare, fella. Look at the way that they do things. Like, you 400 grand a week. You don't get that just to kick a ball. That's clearly because some kind of acting skill. There's a reason you're not allowed to bet on it. No footballers allowed to place a bet on football because it's fucking scripted and they know the outcomes. Anything, if they do a good bit of football, they call it a play. You've got people waiting in the wings. They've got directors of football. Manchester United Stadium is nicknamed the Theatre of Dreams. It's scripted, you Don't get me started on the fact there's so many songs in it, it's actually a fucking musical.
There's no easy way of saying this, but I empathise with chlamydia. Because most people don't know I'm there. And when they do, they don't want me near the genitals. It's alright, I'm not good socially. Shockingly. But, right, I'm good at, if I'm talking to someone and they're not enjoying it, I can tell, because I'm really good at reading body language. For instance, if I'm chatting to someone and they've got their arms at the side and their legs are walking away from me, I know they're not enjoying it. But like recently I was at parties are the way that I get to make friends, right? But I've got a problem with parties because, like, recently I went to a party, a fancy dress party as Gollum. And when I got there, I was so embarrassed because when they said the theme was fantasy, I thought they meant things that turned you on. But right, I went to my friend's party recently and was stood on my own for ages. So what I did then was a text just to look busy. So I texted everyone I know, and after I texted them both, and then I ended up having to pretend to text. But when I pretend to text, right, to make it more convincing, I actually text. So that means I write messages I'm never going to send to people who don't exist. And, right, this is weird, but what I did, right, as a treat, I invented a girlfriend for myself to text. And to be honest, she wasn't really my type. And because I realised my brain's so repressed, they wouldn't have got the choice of the looks and personality of any woman in the history of the world. I'll still only allow myself someone who I quite like. So I was texting my pretend girlfriend, and the worst bit was we got into an argument. And it was about who was going to pay for our next holiday to Crete. Because she loves it there, does Lucinda. And what's weird, I realised throughout the argument, I was calling her babes just to feel like a normal couple. So right, that was new. But right, I was texting her, right? At one point, I nearly texted, I don't even want to go on holiday with you now, you bitch. But I didn't, because I had this fear I was going to get dumped by my own imagination. So in the end, I lost an argument that I invented. Because I just gave into her. I mean, you've got, haven't you, women?
So yeah, you're in your uniform, you're in a hen new uniform, you're ready to go, and it's all going to take place in a room decorated with disembodied penises, which is apparently sexy and fun, and not creepy and reminiscent of a serial killer's apartment. For years there was something wrong with me as a woman for not liking penises by themselves. To drink through a straw-shaped like one. I was like, I don't think this is sexy. And then I found out it's fine, a lot of other people feel the same. Penises by themselves, not that attractive. Just saying it, okay? I'm sorry, there it is. I mean, just a tip for everyone. If you've got a penis, don't send a dick pic, okay? Don't do it, because nobody has ever received a dick pic and gone, you know what, I don't care who that's attached to. It's not the penis that interests people, generally. I mean, speak for yourselves, but certainly not. And then everyone always wants to do stuff. They always want to do an activity, you know, got to organised fun and a hen night. What are you going to do? You're going to do karaoke, you're going to do a taster menu, you're going to do cocktails, you're going to do a spin class, you're going to do yoga, you're going to do papier-mâché, you're going to do a glass blowing, you're going to do axe throwing, you're going to join the French Foreign Legion. What's going to happen? What is going to bond you with? First one everyone always suggests, pole dancing. And that's fine. I kind of feel like the sort of women who want to do pole dancing at hen nights are the same women who judge women who do it for a living.
When it comes to like queers in general, the one thing that I like to tell people who aren't queer, because it's nice to sort of like educate people, there's basically only one thing that you need to know, and that is that we love a flag. That's it. We just love a flag. I'm non-binary, we've got 12. We really love a flag. But what always upsets me, because you know, like flags, they used to be sort of like symbols of like colonialism, you know? Where people used to like take their flag to like other people's places, and they're like, that's ours now. Sorry, mate. But the queers like never did that. And that makes me sad. Because I think that's what the world needs right now, is like a big queer army. Like we could put the colon back into colonisation. I think it's our time. Because I've done some Googling, there's 70 million queers in the world, largest army in the world, 1.25 million, China, and statistically 10% of them are going to join us anyway. And when you've got 70 million people in your army, you don't even need to fight a war, you just need to turn up. I've worked out our targets. Like, I used to do this bit, I used to say Chechnya was our target, but then like the Sultan of Brunei was just like hold my beer. I'm not going to murder that cunt. So we're gonna go to Brunei. This is the big gay army. Pack your shorts, lads. It's going to be a lovely weather for a prize, and we're just gonna pop over there. Don't need to fight. No violence involved. And some people worry about the safety of the gays in this situation. I don't know if you've seen lesbians recently. We're going to win. We have so many people get like leather daddies. I don't know if you've seen Pops recently, but I think they do some damage to your shins. It doesn't matter. We simply don't have time. But I support their journey. Oh dear, where am I? We're going to go to not Chechnya. Fuck them as well, though. We'll do it on the way. We'll fuck them up on the way. We'll get to Brunei and then we'll just turn up, all of us, and just overnight turn Brunei into the world's largest gay club. Yeah? There's boom boxes there, and the Sultan of Brunei, he'd be so annoyed, wouldn't he? He'd be so angry, just running around like, oh no, you're an abomination! This is unnatural! And we'd be like, do you believe?
I'm gonna do some crowd work. Hi. Hello. what's your name again? Mate.
Andrew.
I just need to look at my notes. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
So anyway... Right, I need to get better romantically. Yeah, because when I was younger, I was really bad at chatting women up or trying to, like, start something with a woman. Because, right, when there was this girl who I was really good friends with, but I really fancied her as well, and then I got drunk and I suggested, like, maybe we could have a relationship or something, and she was like, no, we've been really close friends for ages, I think of you as a brother. And so, in the last-ditch attempt to win her over, I said, well, I'm fine with incest. She wasn't. But anyway, I did have a girlfriend once, but the way she dumped me was to say, I'm so sorry, Paul, it's not you, it's me, I can't stand you. So I said, well, at least I'm a real person, Lucinda.
I'll finish on a story about something that happened to me on a train, right? Now, comedy, dead late night job, and if you don't drive, it means you usually have to get the last train home. Now, I'm taking a punt that we've all got the last train home before? Yeah. Lovely stuff. Some of you will probably know it as the drunk train. I like to more affectionately refer to it as Agatha Christie's Murder on the Trans-Pennine Express. And I'm on this train, right, and there is there's one seat available on this train, one seat. And the lady next to this empty seat was a nun, of all people, right? And she had her bag on the spare seat, which in my opinion was a comedy makes her a nun with a bad habit. Oh! Again, get fucked is a great pun. And I said, is there anyone sat there? And she said, yes. But there was no one sat there, my dear, so I can only assume she reserved that seat for God, right? He created the world in 7 days, but did you also know, as I found out that night, bloody loves a rail saver, doesn't he? So I've got to stand in the middle of this train, right? It's absolutely packed. There's been a concert on and a football match. I've got drunk people to the left of me, a Hindu to the right. Here I am stuck in the middle with you. And I turn round after 10 minutes, and what do I see, Jonathan? What do I see? You. Not actually you, but metaphorically, a lady on the platform next to me who got the seat next to the nun. And it got me thinking, what did I do wrong? What could I have done to have got that seat? What could I have offered that nun? A vow of chastity, perhaps? I've been single for 5 years. It wouldn't have been a massive sacrifice, would it? What did she do to get the seat next to the nun? Does she know all the lyrics to Sister Act 1 and 2? Because guess who bloody does? You know what the most embarrassing thing was about it, the most humiliating thing about this entire situation? And I'll finish on this. You would think, wouldn't you, Blizzard Comedy? You would bloody well think that after 2,000 years, a nun sees someone who looks like moi on a train, she'd welcome me with open arms! Amen. You've been delightful. I am sweating a lot. Just want to say, if you want to follow me, you can. I'm getting the 10:30 from Deansgate Station. Love to see you all there for the late show. I've been Ash Preston. Enjoy yourself. Christmas. Have a great day.
Fucking Preston, one more time! Only works for us, apparently.
Hey Tom. Yes. I'm having the time of my life.
Actually wrote that joke after a night out with me and Andrew, and can confirm he is the woman, I am the exploring man.